Okay, and we are back. This is Matt 1140, chapter 17.2, polygons, more specifically area and perimeter. So example 1 had straightforward polygons, did leave out trapezoids. I hope that makes sense as you look at examples. If not, let me know. We're going to take a look at example 2. Now we're just finding area, but we've got complex figures. So we've got figures where we've got one or more polygons put together. Okay? Some of them are pretty straightforward. If I take a look at A, I can divide this into the rectangle, and the area here is length times width, and this triangle up top, where the area is 1/2 the base and the height. So the area of this, well, let's start with the triangle. My base is the same 20 yards that I have down here. So 20 times 10, base times height divided by 2. That's exactly the same as 1/2 times the base times the height. When I multiply that out, I get 100. My label is yards, and this is area, so it's square yards. The area of the rectangle down below is 20 times 15, which is 300 square yards. My total then is going to be those added together, 400 square yards. And we like problems like A more than we like problems like B and C and D, because in A, I've got whole shapes, whole polygons that I'm adding together. We would much rather add up than take away. We are more comfortable adding than subtracting. Okay? But take a look at B. Again, this complex figure should say shaded. Find the shaded area. Shaded. Okay. I have an outside square where the area is going to be side squared, so 6 times 6. I got 36 square feet. I have this inside square that I got to take out. That is not included in my total area. So if I was looking at that 36 square feet, that's this whole thing, right? I don't want the whole thing. I want to take out that chunk in the middle. So the area I'm subtracting out is this little square. Sides are 3 by 3. 3 squared is 9. I'm going to subtract these and get 27 square feet. Now, a lot of times we look at this and say, well, can't I just use the difference? 6 minus 3 is 3, 3 squared. That only gives us 9, and take a look at our answer. We've got 27 square feet. So we've got to take a look at the total area. We got to consider the sides. We got to consider the corners. Bottom line is area of the big shape minus area of the smaller shape. So take a minute to look at C and decide what we think the big shape is and what we think the smaller shape is. This looks a little different. We are not carving something out of the middle. But I can imagine extending here, and then my big shape is this large rectangle. The area of that in the yellow, which I will highlight in a minute, is 14 times 11, 154 square meters. Let's figure out what I'm taking out here. This side is labeled as 7, and this side is labeled as 7. So I'm going to subtract this inside area, 7 times 7, which is 49 square meters. That leaves me with a shaded area of 105 square meters. Let's see, can I reshade the gray? Let's see here. Somewhere there's gray, right? Oops, I made that really big. So we're back to just this. Okay. C's got a couple different things going on. So if I extend this side and these pieces, I have got a nice rectangle, okay? It's kind of obvious. I got one side labeled 24 feet, which means my other side has also got to be 24 feet. Which means if I've got part of it labeled here as 18, I know that this little chunk is 6 feet. Kind of helps me out to fill everything in to start. I don't have the width, but what I do have is this 12, which means this is 12, which means the whole side is 16, which means this opposite side is 16. It is a rectangle, so opposite sides are the same length. So if I want to find the area of that big rectangle, I'm going to go area of rectangle just so I know what I'm looking at, is 24 times 16. (384 square feet). 384. Now I got to subtract out 2 pieces. I got to subtract out this triangle. So I'm going to subtract the area of that triangle. And the subscripts are just for me to keep track of everything, which is going to be 1/2 times that base, which is 16, times the height, which is 8. That's 64 square feet. And I'm going to subtract piece by piece. So now I'm at 320 square feet. Now I need to subtract out this rectangle. Area of the littler rectangle. And that area was 12 by 6, which is 72 square feet. I was hoping to get this all on one page, so I'm going to rewrite this over here. Notice I include the labels. That's just a reminder. I can only subtract things that are the same. I cannot subtract miles from square feet unless I make some conversions. Well, miles is not even squared, so I can't. I get 248 square feet as the shaded area.